Worried about your privacy and freedom in the financial worlds? Well, exciting changes are coming to the way that we handle money, as the Federal Reserve introduces a new payment system that promises to revolutionize the financial landscape. China unveiled the world's first digital currency, which exists only in the cyberspace and is not printed on paper. The U.S. Federal Reserve is set to introduce a new digital payment system, known as the FedNow Instant Payment Service, in July 2023. The system will enable immediate fund transfers between banks and other financial institutions, improving efficacy and convenience. The FED is also trying this new payment system to a central bank digital currency, which is already being launched in several countries around the world. The U.S. is getting in on that action, with the FED issuing formal certifications for participants in the first week of April, with a rollout starting in July. A lot of Americans are skeptical and do not trust the government to create a central bank digital currency. While there are concerns about the potential for surveillance and control with the CBDC, as the government would have the ability to monitor transactions and potentially limit access to funds. It's worth noting that many major countries are exploring the idea of digital currencies, and it remains to be seen how that's going to be implemented. The FedNow Instant Payment Service is faster and more efficient than traditional banking, settling funds between banks in real time and taking only seconds. For example, a coffee shop owner can quickly pay for coffee beans through participating bank, and the supplier would instantly receive the payment. The settlement process would happen instantaneously, unlike the current system, which takes longer. This service will eventually apply to things like bill pay and sending money from one account to another, making it super duper helpful for those paying urgent utility bills without worrying about late penalty fees. The FED only wants us to use it for peer-to-peer transactions, just like we use Venmo or Apple Pay. The CBDC, on the other hand, is a digital form of the US dollar that's being developed by the government as a replacement for physical cash. Unlike the digital claims of currency we have today, a truly digital currency would be true value transferred from A to B without the use of a bunch of third-party banks. And the government would have full control over its supply and how quickly it can move from point A to point B. Central bank digital currencies have their advantages and disadvantages. On one hand, they would give the Federal Reserve direct control over the money supply, potentially stabilizing the value of the US dollar. On the other hand, some argue that the CBDCs could lead to financial dependence and loss of privacy. However, proponents of CBDCs point out that they would bring greater speed, modernization, and reduced banking costs. CBDCs could also facilitate tax collection, making it easier for people to pay their taxes. This represents a global shift in commerce, with the Federal Reserve seeking to combine the trust in its currency system with the innovation of the private banking sector. Despite the opposition to CBDCs, their introduction seems inevitable, as other countries around the world are launching their own digital currencies. The development of CBDCs could revolutionize the way that we handle money, potentially giving the US a competitive advantage on the global stage. That'd be nice. The World Economic Forum has even warned that central banks who don't innovate will be left behind and lose control over money and trust. While there are risks associated with these new technologies, there are also opportunities for greater efficiency, transparency, and financial inclusion. As with any major change, it's up for us to stay informed and engaged and to demand that these developments serve the needs and interests of all Americans. Regardless of what happens, it's really important to stay informed. Keep an eye on the ever-evolving world of finance, will you? Consider waking up to the news that the government is demanding you surrender all your cash or face hefty fines. It happened in 1933 when the annual average income was just over $1,000. Now the average annual income in the US is over $180,000. Making that idea seem unlikely. However, history has demonstrated that the abuse of power can happen when those in control have the technology and the motive to do so. For instance, the IRS scandal from 2010 to 2012 saw conservatives unfairly targeted for tax evasion. The Federal Reserve aims to blend the reliability of its currency system with the modernization of the private banking industry. And this is all to produce a revolutionary finance tool that ensures that the US remains at the forefront of the global market. It's all about staying in power, baby. While some oppose the idea of CBDCs, they're inevitable as countries around the world launch their own. The World Economic Forum has even warned that central banks who don't innovate, again, will be left behind. They'll lose control over money and trust. If you happen to find this video insightful, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button with your butt cheek, your left one to be precise. You hit it with the right one, it will fall off and you will die, just warning you. So, should you sell your dollars and buy Bitcoin? Mayhaps not. But as a hedge, it might not be a bad idea. Again, regardless of what happens, it's important to, what everybody? What do we say, class? Stay informed and keep an eye on the ever-evolving world of finance. These videos popping up on your screens right now are going to expose you to the recent happenings in the world of finance. I know, what a coincidence. This is the most effective way to stay up to date with our latest content. As you already know, you've probably subscribed to stuff on YouTube before. I'm going to stop yapping at you, even though you love my voice. Bye.